Shout out to the Jazz, baby. Like and subscribe if you love pitties. You don't have to like pitties if you want to like and subscribe. If you want 150 plus videos on the NBA, do that. Either way, guys, today we'll be talking about the future of the Washington Wizards. Let's get right into today's video. Like and subscribe, do all that good jazz. Shout out John Hollinger and Joff Robbins of The Athletic. But we're in a special year. We're about to give $250 million to Bradley Beal, approximately $245 million. It's a 5-year max commitment, and it's definitely going to happen. There's no questions, ifs, and buts. If it wasn't going to happen, we'd be hearing rumors like we are about Zach LaVine. It's going to happen. You don't turn down $250 million. And plus, Bradley Beal has stated it's nice to be wanted, and he's very much wanted here. So, John Hollinger is the former vice president of the Memphis Grizzlies, and Josh Robbins is a beat writer for the Wizards. And they inspired me after a conversation about talking about the future of the Washington Wizards through the lens of roster construction. So let's talk about it. The team's going to re-sign Bradley Beal, and spending such a large chunk of the salary cap on a star player who's, would you say Bradley Beal's a superstar? I don't know if he's a superstar, but he's a star player. While you're not a team in contending, is interesting, especially for a franchise that has a history of overplaying players whose final years have turned out to be disastrous or disappointing, such as Gilbert Arenas and John Wall, or Juwan Howard and Otto Porter Jr. People don't forget the Juwan Howard contract. People forget about that. And either way, Ted Leonsis and Tommy Shepard are going to be doing something. And I think they're obviously going to keep Bradley Beal. And obviously, the best course of action would have been to trade Bradley Beal before his contract had been expired, and this is why they're going to keep him. So, given the corner that they painted themselves in, the Wizards' best option is obviously to re-sign him, because then they can always trade him later on, and he still probably would return, positive in value in terms of like trade value, even on the max contract. You probably get some good value, and plus they could make the 5th-year guarantee have like an out, so if he does suck by his 5th year, they could cut him. So all signs point towards the team signing a multi-year deal, such as the $245 million. Now, look, the fortunate thing for Washington, by moving off of Wall and Russell Westbrook, its books are actually pretty decent going forward, even with roughly $80 million committed each of the next 2 years to Bradley Beal and Porzingis. This is largely because none of the Wizards' recent lottery picks have gotten large extensions. And without the money to add a third elite star or high draft pick, it's hard to see how this team gets above treading water, aka the play-in tournament level in the East. And the front office has done a very good job of navigating out of the purgatory that was John Wall's extension. But they might have gone back into purgatory. With that being said, I think Beal at his best is a legit all-star and is arguably an all-NBA player. Now, I think the Wizards have a chance of building a championship level team is possible. They have some flexibility to do this so. And 2 realistic paths in doing this. First, it's either going in the draft and hitting on a Nikola Jokic-esque player or landing a trade for a better player. Either is theoretically possible, but neither seems particularly possible at the same time, like that it's going to come into reality. So when you think about it, Washington does have the pieces to put together a trade if an all-star player becomes available. Though the future first it owes to Oklahoma City is a complication, but not necessarily a fatal flaw in this plan. I still far more like the possibility of long-term relevance for the Wizards by keeping Bradley Beal and Porzingis together than starting over. Okay? And I think trading either of them is reluctant. And the Wizards front office felt that bringing Kristaps Porzingis and the 2nd-round pick aboard for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans improved the team's overall talent. And I agree with that assessment. At the same time, Porzingis is a player who, besides, the 2017-2018 All-Star season, has never fully fulfilled his tantalizing potential. Injuries have derailed his career, though I still think he can come back. I mean, look, people forget that Kristaps Porzingis is young as all hell. This man is turning 27 this August, so he's still a young guy. He's got 3 years till he turns 30. So I don't know why anybody's scared that he's not going to be good. Yeah, he's under contract for $33.8 million and will have a $36 million option next year. And I can't foresee how he plays, but he played really good to end the year. He was averaging career high assists, like with almost 4 assists a game, grabbing, almost 10 rebounds a game. I think it was like 8 or 9 rebounds a game while dropping 20 points a night on almost 50% from the field and like 36, 37% from three. He's good. And Porzingis actually looked really good in that late stint. And I thought Washington was tempting fate by playing him in some important fates, but he looked a lot closer to that all-star version of himself in that stint than he did in Dallas. And the biggest issue, obviously, with Porzingis is his health. As I've noted before, the players of his size rarely have long careers. Exactly 0 players who are 7'3" and taller have amassed 900 games. Porzingis' meter is already at 337 with multiple knee injuries along the way. It's crazy to see that he could play anywhere close to 80 games next year, but if he does, that's a very good sign. And I think all he needs to give the Wizards is 65 games at an all-star level, and that makes him a decent value for his contract, okay? And especially if that does happen, it allows them to easily forget about the Davis Bertans contract. As a result, I can't imagine the Washington moving down the road, you know, towards giving Kristaps an extension until he can prove he's worth it, and plus that his knees hold up. So with that being said, I think what the Wizards need to do is their future is going to be around Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. Let's trade for a guy like Jalen Suggs. Let's bring in a veteran point guard like John Wall to show him the ropes for a year and two, then have Jalen Suggs take over. Corey Kispert, Denny Avdia are your wings, okay? You have Rui Hachimura, who I think should be traded. He's going to walk. Let's get rid of him. Let's try to cash in right now for him. And Daniel Gafford's the backup center. Kyle Kuzma's the power forward. Denny Avdia and Corey Kispert are your wings. Your shooting guard is Bradley Beal. Your point guard is John Wall, backed up by Jalen Suggs. Contavious Caldwell-Pope backs up Bradley Beal. You either have Denny Avdia start and Corey Kispert back him up, or Corey Kispert start and Denny Avdia back him up. You bring back Tomas Stanarowski. You have Daniel Gafford back up Kristaps Porzingis. You have Kyle Kuzma backed up by Anthony Gill. I don't think that's a bad team. That's a decent team.